Professional, the team heads to Eastern Europe to investigate the terrifying hauntings of a medieval castle.
Dear God.
Did you hear that?
I heard that. Holy crap, what is that?
What was that?
Will Dustin escape the dungeon when the tortured souls come to life?
There's a vibration coming from this horse. I sound like somebody said, yeah.
Then, GHI explores the legendary home of a vicious countess.
She allegedly murdered 650 young girls.
Will the bloodthirsty butcher unleash her homicidal wrath upon the team?
Guys, I just saw a strange dark cloud.
What the was that?
Slovenia?
I actually had to get a map. I wasn't even sure where this country was.
There was a little gem of a country tucked away behind Italy.
Brandy's going to give us some details on this one.
Fragama Castle was constructed in the 13th century and was built actually into the opening of a mountain. The paranormal activity claims include mysterious voices as well as footsteps.
We have activity here that's unexplained, so we're going to have to bring out every piece of equipment, every technique we've got to see if we can pinpoint exactly what's going on here.
Looking forward to it, Rob.
No kidding.
Dear God.
I've never seen anything like this. Hi, Voiko.
Hi.
Rob.
Welcome.
I'm Andy.
Welcome.
I'm Barry.
Welcome. Welcome in Fragama Castle. We are excited that GHI come here and give us some answers to our paranormal questions. Whether this is just something that we hear in our minds or this is for real. The first people, they came here about 1,000 years ago. Of course, they lived in this cave, and then the external part was built after that. Basically, there are two parts of the castle, in the cave and the external one.
And we understand that you've had some paranormal goings-on here as well.
Right here.
In this room?
See this opening? They put the criminal here inside, and then they built a wall in front of him. He died because of no oxygen.
So what kind of paranormal activity has happened right here?
We hear footsteps here.
Because of the criminals being in the wall?
Yeah, probably.
Have you ever heard it?
Yeah.
Could there still be some bodies in the walls of this castle?
Yes, that's true.
So could you take us on a tour?
Yeah, sure. Okay, now we are going to the court. Those people who came here as a convicts, for them there were only two exits. First one was here. Behind this door is 63 meters deep vertical cave.
So if you were found guilty, right down the hole?
Yes.
And that was it?
Yeah.
Could there still be bodies down there?
They are, because nobody went down to collect them.
So what kind of paranormal activity has happened right here?
We can hear footsteps. Also, a conversation of two people.
And what was the second exit?
And the second exit was a torture chamber. Down there are pillars for hanging and whipping.
Wow.
In a very, very painful way.
So has there been any activity in this area?
Yeah, we hear footsteps. Also, we hear unusual sounds.
All right, so where are we heading to next?
This is the beginning of the castle. For the first people, it was only this part. The story about the castle began here.
Right, so they came from the cave and kept building it out from there. Wow.
Yeah.
So has there been any activity in this area?
Yeah, we hear footsteps. So nobody would like to be here for the night.
You can hear footsteps or voices like they are talking behind that wall after the sun goes down. If you're the last one, you have to go and check in the castle if there is anybody else in it. I don't like to be here when it's dark.
Well, thank you very much for the tour. What we're going to do now is get our equipment unpacked, get set up, and spend the night and see what we can find with these stories and catch up with you later on.
Okay.
It's going to be tricky because it is a huge location. A lot of sound going on here. Footsteps, conversations. All right, well, let's get going, get set up. We came in, we took the tour. The stories we were told were only the stories that happened right before it got dark because no one wanted to be here at night. So now they brought us in. So yes, we've heard stories of all these sounds, but we have no idea what goes on in this place once the lights go out. So the team's definitely amped up and looking forward to a great investigation. So, how do we do?
We've got 3 cameras set up here tonight. First camera obviously is shooting down through the torture chamber, down into the bottom chamber where the people were strapped up and whipped. The second camera is going to be facing down into the court. The third camera is going to be immediately outside here, which is going to be shooting straight across.
This third camera is where we've got the footsteps, the voices as well. So if anything's walking through there, we can immediately discount.
The torture chamber area, we've got audio along with infrared.
As far as the torture chamber goes, I'd like to grab you and Dustin. We can do a thorough investigation of that area.
Brandy, what do you say we head on down to the large cave below the castle?
Certainly.
All right, let's get the lights on and get going. EVP session, Dustin and Rob in the courtroom. Is there anyone who used to do the judging still around with us? We were told that anyone arrested had 2 choices by the time they got to this courtroom. Either they're killed instantaneously by being thrown down this pit, or they went in the torture chamber. If you were to judge me, can you make a noise in one of those areas to let me know which one you'd send me to? You hear that?
Yeah. What was that, man?
So if you had your way, I'd be heading for the torture chamber.
That's freaky.
No one's investigated this place. So, you know, who knows what we're going to get and find here. That's what's awesome. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's power up. Watch your step. Gets very, very steep. Loose stones. Watch your step. Brandy, look at this.
Is that iron?
That's exactly what it is. It's a piece of natural iron. All right. Let's do a quick thermal sweep while we're in here. Oh. What's that? Holy crap, what is that? Do you see that? It's like
salt or...
I don't... It's like a cascade of limestone. Jeez. Look at this thing. Salty.
Okay.
So this is the salt coming through the limestone.
I have to give props to Andy. He is pretty much willing to do whatever it takes to track down the truth, including eating a portion of a cave.
And let's see if any of this stuff might be giving off any natural EMF. Oh, yeah. Look at that baby go. That's very interesting. We're definitely registering a natural electromagnetic field down here. Why would this be giving off an electromagnetic field? Brandy and I have been down in this cave now for quite some time, and bit by bit we're finding these pieces, these minerals, but there was one piece we were missing.
EVP session, Brandy and Andy in the cave system at Pradiyama Castle. If there's anyone in this cave with us right now, can you please make your presence known? Make a noise. Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Andy and I were investigating the upper section of the cave. We started to hear a knocking. Please make a noise to prove to us that you're here with us.
Man, that almost seemed like it answered you.
That was directly after.
That was directly. You asked if you could make a noise.
Make that same noise again to confirm.
I heard that.
Did that sound like footsteps?
There's that noise again.
Crap. Sounded like it was in direct answer to the question that Brandy was asking. Keep asking. When it was at that point, you can't waste any time, and that was it. I was off. I needed to get to the bottom of where that sound was coming from.
Did you hear that?
Holy crap. Hey! Oh!
When Andy and I were investigating the upper section of the cave, we started to hear a knocking, and Andy decided that it was a great time to run down to try to track down the noises. Did you hear that?
Holy crap.
Hey Andy, how's it going down there?
When I was down there chasing the sound, I looked down on the floor of the cave, and that final puzzle piece was there. What's that?
Quartz.
Quartz crystal. Basically, everything down there, it's just littered with quartz crystal. Quartz crystal, you have to look at it from the standpoint of a quartz battery, say, in a watch. It can hold energies. They use quartz in creating computer chips that actually store information. So we have got huge deposits of quartz crystal, natural iron, salt, water, and limestone. Basically, what we have here is one giant quartz battery, able to store information, feelings in the quartz. It's being powered by the weak electromagnetic field that's being generated from the salt affecting with the limestone and the natural iron that we're finding here. It's an amazing example. I couldn't find where that sound was coming from, and I went pretty far down. But I'll tell you right now, it felt like there was something down there, something really different, something eerie, and I'm not one to say that often. That was creepy. Here we go.
EVP session, torture chamber with Barry, Dustin, and Rob. We've come to this castle because a lot of people have heard you walking around, you talking. So if there is anyone here, we'd ask that you continue to make those sounds, to have those conversations now.
Can you come forward and give us a sign that you're here? Do you understand?
Are you alone?
If you are near one of us, can you make a sound? Can you make a knock? Like, can you make that sound for us near one of us?
I heard something.
Where was the sound coming from? In this room or outside?
It's at a distance, Rob. It's hard to pinpoint even the direction it's coming from.
All right, let's see if we can get it again.
If you're responsible for making those noises, can you please come forward a little closer?
If you want to communicate with us, if you want us to know that you're here, we need you to come to one of us. Okay, I heard that.
Definitely hearing noises, Rob, but it sounds like it's down in the corridor somewhere.
Barry, you want to take a walk and just do a quick check out there?
Anything, Barry?
Everything was still. There was nobody. I certainly didn't see anyone.
Okay. Can you speak to us now? Can you say just one word? We need you to come towards us and speak to us or make a sound. Make the knock. You back where you're supposed to be?
Yeah.
Okay. Dustin, why don't you go ahead?
While you were held here, you probably became very angry. Angry with the way you were treated, the way you were mistreated and tortured. If you could try to use that anger to communicate with us now, make a knock sound, touch one of us. You could try to focus that anger. Barry, take a photo to my left side.
I'm actually continuing taking the shots.
Because it feels like it's getting noticeably colder to my left.
Okay.
If you were specifically tortured with one of these items, the horse or the whipping post, is there any way you can move the item that hurt you? I know this is going to sound crazy, but it sounds like there's a vibration coming from this horse itself.
Have you touched it?
When I touch it, it seems to get quieter, but I don't feel anything. The torture device of the horse, I asked if you were tortured on one of these devices, could you make a noise or something? And there was a vibration coming from it. I couldn't feel it. I put my hand on it, tried to feel it, and it did squelch the sound down. I wasn't able to pick up the vibration.
Now that you find yourself in your own purgatory, do you feel pity for the ones you watched being abused in that way?
Do you feel like you're trapped here? Do you feel like you're still being tortured after all these years? No one's keeping you here anymore. Do you know that? What'd you get, bro?
Dude, I hope I caught that.
I had nothing up here, man.
Dude, I don't know, man, but I thought I heard when you said, do you know that, you don't have to be here anymore? I swear I heard, I know. The tone seemed to be very, like, almost condescending, like, of course I know I can leave here at any time. I mean, it's tough to ascribe something to a voice, but that's what it definitely seemed.
Was it painful in life, but somehow comforting now? Did you just hear a yeah?
I heard nothing.
It sounded like somebody said yeah, just over my right ear. Was it painful in life, but somehow comforting now? Did you just hear a yeah?
I heard nothing.
It sounded like somebody said yeah, just over my right ear.
Robin, Barry, and I were in the torture chamber. We were split up on 3 levels. We were doing an EVP session. I heard an answer to a question that I had asked if the spirit was comfortable there. It sounded like somebody said yes right over my right shoulder.
I thought you might have heard it because it sounds like it was down toward you, Rob.
There was absolutely nothing down here. Whoever made that sound, can you make the same sound again?
It may have been a long time since you spoke last, but we would appreciate if you would make the attempt.
All right, I think we should move out. EVP session end. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
In the original parts of the castle, myself and Brandy came up here to do an EVP session. You hear that?
I did.
That was a heavy rumbling. Barry and Brandy, EVP session. We're reaching an appeal to the entities that reside in the dark. I'm aware this is your time.
Give us a sign of your presence by making a noise.
We are aware that this is the original castle, approaching 1,000 years old.
Did you work here? Why are you still here?
Did you hear that?
I did. It sounded like a voice. I don't know what it said, but it definitely was different from any of the knocks and bangs that I had been hearing previously.
I think it's going to be in the range of the mic. I'm going to go a little higher. If you give me that. If you keep asking the questions, just raise your voice a little bit more so that I can pick it up in this.
What is your purpose?
What is your name?
Where did you come from? Are you hearing anything up there, Barry?
No, everything's quiet now. Okay, I think that'll do us. We'll see what we've got on the EVP. We may have had more communication that we're aware of. And, we won't know that until we review the evidence. Now, dawn's approaching fast, and I can see the tree line.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up, meet in Command Central, and get the lights on.
Sounds good.
In this investigation, we weren't necessarily expecting the kind of activity we got, but when it did come and we were getting these corresponding voices, we'd ask a question and we'd get a response. And I've been to a lot of spooky places and never heard anything like that before. But we were ready. We had all the equipment out, all the audio. So I'm pretty excited about going home and making sure that all the things that we thought we heard, we documented.
It's been a long night. I'm really looking forward to the results about the Diamond Castle, and I really hope that the guys from GHI team, they will find something.
Well, I gotta admit, I underestimated this one. I didn't expect so much stuff to go down tonight.
Well, I think that the caves, they're simply amazing. Just unbelievable.
Just wanted to thank you guys. You know, you definitely gave it 100%. You put in great effort
tonight, and I just wanted to say good job. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, guys, well, let's get back
and get some well-deserved rest.
Sounds good. See you there.
Yeah. You're on the wrong side of the road.
Okay, Brandy. Prydiama Castle. Fantastic place.
It was.
Would you mind covering some of the audio?
Sure.
And then I'll cover the thermal camera on the mini DV.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just going over some of the audio from the EVP session that Andy and I were doing in the caves. I came across something that struck me.
Why do you remain here? Do you hear that?
It's really faint.
It's just too far away. There certainly was a lot of sounds in the background. And as you said, you're in a cave system. There was a lot of things going on down there, but it's too faint, unfortunately. Brandy, I want you to have a look at this. I'm just going through the full spectrum shots of the EVP session that was being run in the torture chamber. Now, I was up at the very top, the 3rd floor. As the shots continue, you will see Dustin here, everything's fine. Then it comes forward. Whatever this is has showed up. I'm not sure what it is.
So, how do we do at Prydiama Castle?
Very well. I think you'll be impressed by what we have uncovered.
We actually found quite a few EVPs. The first one was taken during the EVP session that Barry and I were doing in the original portion of the castle.
Barry and Brandy, EVP session in the old castle.
Well, can you loop that section? I mean, I can definitely hear the voice.
Pretty cool, man.
So you picked this up as soon as you turned on your digital voice recorder.
This was seconds into the recording.
It sounds like a voice, but as far as what it's saying, I really can't make it out. All right, anything else?
The next one happens in the torture chamber. Is the history correct? Is that you, Dustin?
Can you loop that section?
That's no one in that room. That's none of you.
No. Wow. So our last one also occurs in the torture chamber. Rob, while you were down in the bottom floor, you heard a response to one of your questions. Dustin then asked what was going on. It sounds like it's suggesting, look.
Wow. I hear disembodied voice. Now, at the same time, up by you, something's indicating that you should look at something.
Yes.
And that was picked up as an EVP.
Yes.
I mean, that's always interesting when we have these cases and we come in, we speak English, and there is the idea that they can have this basic understanding and can communicate in whatever language is being presented to them. So that's terrific.
We have something else to show you. It comes in the form of the full spectrum shots. Dustin, you remember I was up top taking the photographs down of both you and Rob during the EVP session. If you see the shot here, everything's fine. Then we start to see this coming in here.
Wow, that's a good catch. Good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very well, very well. We definitely found something.
Okay.
Great.
Sure.
Brandy and I took the time to look at what this mountain is made up of. We found iron deposits, quartz, there's salt, and of course there's water. And basically what they are is those are the components to make a battery.
All those kind of ingredients together, it might act as like a power source. And that's given the power to play these footsteps the voices we heard. They just get repeated over and over again.
That can lead to what's known as residual haunting.
So this is a pretty good start. We figured out what's going on. We've got our battery. Maybe there's just these sounds that are always playing time and time again. But that's not quite what we found. We have some personal experiences that we'd like to share with you. You described to us a Spanish horse.
Yeah.
Dustin is in there and he hears a buzzing, like a hum coming from the horse itself. Puts his hand on the Spanish horse, stops. Takes his hand off the horse, the buzzing starts back up again. What happened in the torture chamber was actually pretty intense, and thankfully we got the evidence to back it up.
This is Barry, Robin, Dustin in the torture chamber. Barry's asking out loud about the history of this place.
Is the history correct? Is that you, Dustin?
This one, clearly, Barry heard it at the time.
Is that you, Dustin?
And he heard a voice and there was no one there. So this is more of a disembodied voice, a voice with no body that spoke it.
This is more almost like a command. Could be one of the soldiers commanding to another one. Because, as I said, it's very, very self-confident voice.
EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. It's where we take a tape recorder, we ask questions, but you go back, you listen to the tape, and you see if maybe there was some voices or even sounds that you never heard while you were there.
This is Barry and Brandy up in the original castle area, way up at the top.
Barry and Brandy, EVP session in the old castle.
We couldn't pick anything out in English, but we're curious if you might be able to pick something out. Can we play it again?
Mm-hmm. Let me loop that.
It's not Italian, it's not German. So it's almost 1,000 years of history in that part of the castle. It could be one of those languages, but it was in a version of that time.
An early version.
Early version of the language.
We actually have another recording we'd like you to hear.
Good to hear, bro.
Can I hear it again?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a normal voice, like a whispering.
Yeah. So what did you hear?
Look.
Yeah.
How if they were German or Slovenian native, would they understand English?
That's an interesting question that we get quite a bit. And the answer is, it depends on the case. In some cases, we'll ask questions in English and get responses to those questions in the native language. Other times, we'll be in areas where you wouldn't think anyone would have spoken English, and yet we're getting responses in English.
Yeah.
Now we have one last piece of evidence that we'd like to show you. And again, this focuses around the torture chamber. Barry was taking photos of Dustin.
You can see Dustin in the middle section and myself at the bottom. So he starts snapping pictures. There's the next one. You see anything different there?
Yeah, definitely. What is this thing here?
He starts getting this mist. He takes another picture.
Oh.
Now this thing's really moving in the area next to Dustin. Barry says, Dustin, you've got some kind of mist next to you that's showing up in the picture. Dustin turns around. Completely gone.
Wow. What was that?
That's kind of our question.
Wow, guys, this is amazing. I have no idea what this could be.
My interpretation is that this spirit was manifesting. It was actually coming together as these pictures was taking place. And as Dustin was getting ready to see it, perhaps it drew back. It didn't want to necessarily be seen, but it was getting ready to interact.
Wow, this is amazing. I think that human mind cannot explain in a logical way that these things happen here.
When you put all those kind of things together that took place during our investigation, I have no problem saying that this place is haunted. I mean, this stuff was pretty incredible. So when you go for a walk around and you're locking the place up the next time it gets dark, you gonna be all right?
Well, no, I'm quitting my job.
Shall we go?
Thank you very much. The guys of GHI are very professional. The evidence presented are unquestionable. I definitely believe Pardiamo Castle is haunted. Now, for the first time, we have real evidence of presence of paranormal activities in the castle.
You know, the evidence itself was pretty impressive for me. I was glad that we were able to share it with Vojko and get his opinion on it.
I was particularly interested in the fact that he felt that it might be an old language.
It's fun to be the first team in there, not know exactly what to expect, and just have to be prepared for whatever comes along.
And that was pretty cool.
Tonight's investigation is XviD Castle, the home to the infamous Elizabeth Bathory, who was known as the Blood Countess.
This could be quite an investigation. We definitely want to be safe. It is ruins, but we definitely want to be on our toes and prepared for anything. This is going to do it. This is as far as we can go. Well, we're going to have to walk all the gear up from here, and it's a pretty nice hike. We'll all grab something. The Countess Elizabeth Bathory is known as one of the most prolific serial killers of all time. The legend goes that it started when she slapped one of her chambermaids and the blood from the chambermaid hit her on the face. She thought that the spot where the blood hit made her look younger. This turned into a huge obsession. Elizabeth would actually bathe in the blood of these young women to keep her looking eternally young. She was eventually convicted by the courts and imprisoned in her home, XviD Castle.
So this is it, huh?
This is it.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, I'm Andy.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Barry. Welcome to XviD Castle, the place where famous Elizabeth Bathory spent 4 last years of her life. I'm going to show you around and tell you something more about who she was and what she did.
Terrific. We're very excited to be here.
This castle was founded in the 13th century and went through several hands until it was one of the estates of Bathory family. So now we are entering the castle. Elizabeth Bathory, she's known as a woman who did a lot of torturing. She allegedly murdered 650 young girls. She did this for 25 years, since she was 25 until she was 50. After she was caught, she was immediately imprisoned in this tower. She spent there 4 years until her death.
With this kind of history, I can totally understand the stories of paranormal activity that have started to accumulate here. Can you share some of those stories with us?
Yes, there is, so I'm going to show you some other places.
Okay.
There are many that see apparitions. For instance, one person from the vicinity could see an apparition of an old lady, and some other people say a transparent figure of a young lady crying, "I'm getting old, I'm getting old."
Oh, so you think it would be the story of Lady Elizabeth herself walking around because of her whole thing about the blood on herself to keep her young.
Here is the former chapel. One man came here 8 years ago on August 21st, which is anniversary of Elizabeth's death. And what he could see was an apparition of a lady. She was without face and had spread arms with hands.
Bolo to veľmi zaujímavé. Počula som tieto príbehy už od malička, od svojej babky, od svojho detka. Chodí duch Alžbety Bathoryovej, hlasy dievčat, ktoré vraj boli zavraždené. Osobne som počul len zvuky podobné, ale neboli to zvuky, neviem, nejaké...
Is there anything else you'd like to show us?
There is one interesting place, and these are so-called tunnels. There are underground rooms. One of them was exactly the room where Elizabeth tortured young girls. And it is on the ground where the manor house of Elizabeth Bathory was. And it doesn't exist anymore, but this cellar, which is underground room, still exists.
So in your opinion, you would expect that if there were going to be ghost activity because of traumatic events, these tunnels would be a good place to look?
I think so.
Well, we're looking forward to a great investigation here this evening, and we'll see if we have some evidence to show you in a couple days.
Yeah.
Shall we head out?
Yeah.
We've never done a case like this, with the history being so dark, 600 murders committed by the same person. If paranormal activity is often triggered by traumatic events, I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if there was paranormal things going on.
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Andy, I know you wanted to get right to the tunnels. Barry, you're going to go with him? Mm-hmm. Brandy, Dustin, and I will be holding court right here. This should actually be a lot of fun, good investigation. So, got a lot to cover. Let's get to it.
All right.
All right.
Settle up there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to take up here.
All right, I'll go over here.
This is actually one of the most interesting stories to me. A gentleman came up. He happened to be here on the anniversary of Lady Bathory's death. He caught a glimpse briefly of a woman in white, arms outstretched, hands out, with no face.
Wow.
At that point, he saw her. She disappeared. And obviously, if we could capture that, that'd be amazing.
Elizabeth Bathory. How many women did you murder?
If there is someone here, this is probably your best chance you will ever have to let yourself be known again. Whatever form you want to take, we ask that you come right to us.
Give me a sign of your presence. Guys, I just saw a strange, dark cloud.
What exactly did you see?
It was like a small, black cloud, almost, that just sort of passed by very quickly.
Elizabeth, are you here with us now? Is there someone here with us? Maybe not Elizabeth. Were you one of the women that were tortured? Brandy, any more sightings of that black shadow?
No, I've been looking, and I haven't seen anything like it.
No.
I don't know what that was. I kept looking around to see if I could see something similar again. Nothing like that showed up again. So, I don't know. It's unfortunate because I don't think we really caught it on any of our equipment. So I guess it'll just be a personal experience that I'll take away from this place.
Well, certainly off to an interesting start. I sent Andy and Barry down to the tunnels to check out the area where the young women were actually tortured and killed.
Could you imagine being a peasant girl dragged down here? Well, Barry, look at this.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like we're dealing with a possible symbol. It's definitely something that we can pass off to Dustin and see if he can get any more information on it for us.
Yeah.
All right. You think that this could have been the torture chamber?
It's quite possible, yeah.
Let's start our EVP session. And then Barry in the tunnels.
Elizabeth Bathory, can you come forward and give us a sign that you're here?
You're here to try and establish some form of communication. Can you come forward and give us your name?
Ready to head it back to the castle?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The symbols that we found may have some connection with the castle. So Dustin can check into that and see if there is any connection.
All right, so it's nice that we do have a good spot with a good eye for plenty of activity that's supposed to happen right out here. So Brandy, if you want to do an EVP session, Dustin and I will keep an eye on you with the cameras, and we'll see what we can get.
Okay. EVP session, Kachitsa Castle, Brandy, Rob, and Dustin.
Elizabeth, if you're looking for absolution, now's the time.
Tell us why you stay here.
Give me a sign of your presence. You can touch me, you can pull my hair. Show yourself to me.
I mean, here's the thing that's kind of odd to me, right? Some of the stories we heard involved young women. What the was that? Some of the stories we heard involved young women. What the was that?
What did you see, man?
It looked like a bouncing light. I can't even tell what I'm looking at. Drop off. I saw a light, and right away, Dustin and I headed over to see what it was.
I mean, that's a hole, right? I don't know if it's a hole or if it's just a spot. Oh, yeah, it's a hole there.
Dustin and I looked around the area where I had seen the light, but we discovered there was actually ambient light coming from the city and the road beneath us. All right, everybody, sun's coming up. Let's wrap it up. You're always hoping to see the full apparition. Didn't happen, so now we have to go back, get some rest, and hopefully maybe something turns up in the evidence that's really gonna wow us, and maybe we did catch something big.
Hey guys.
So, how'd we do?
Well, Katiche Castle was a long night. A lot of stuff to cover. Myself and Andy, we did take photographs of carvings that appeared on the walls and ceilings of the tunnels, hoping to find an identifying mark that would let us know what these tunnels, cellars were actually used for. So we give them to Dustin.
Those cellars are actually listed as catacombs. And at one time, they did belong to Elizabeth Bathory, and there could have been all the torture and stuff going on down there. But what was interesting was that it also was used by the church for religious practices and, more importantly, to hide people and to move them from place to place. One of the things I found out was that one of the reasons Elizabeth may have actually become imprisoned was the fact that her husband had loaned the king a lot of money to help finance the war. And so when Elizabeth's husband dies, she wants the money back. The king can't pay for it. The country doesn't have enough funds. So they catch her in what she's doing, lock her away, and take her lands from her. So they basically never had to repay the debt.
That's interesting. That explains how she got away doing it for 25 years without any kind of repercussions.
Right. And Barry, those photos that you had some questions about regarding those symbols, I found something really interesting.
Nice to see you again. I'm fine. How about you after so long investigation?
After we took the tour with you and we saw where all the activity had taken place, we came in with every piece of equipment we had.
And can you tell me something what you found in the catacombs?
Catacombs was very interesting because, as you mentioned, that was apparently attached to the activity as well.
When we went down into the catacombs, the first thing that we noticed was the whole tunnel was basically littered with writing. Barry took some photos of the symbols we discovered on the walls and gave them to Dustin to research. What Dustin found was that at one point the catacombs were divided up and sold to different families. The symbols are actually family crests indicating who owns what. Like this one here. It kind of looks like a rooster or a chicken. It's actually noted that a farmer had bought part of the catacombs, so it comes to reason that it may have been the symbol for that family. We'd like to actually give these to you. For your records. This was actually taken with a full spectrum camera, which takes photos in the different light spectrum. Hopefully by comparing the two together, you might be able to pick out more important information in these family crests.
Yeah.
We actually did not recover any evidence from the catacombs. We were able to get these pictures for you, which we hope will keep furthering along the research and help with some of the mysteries around this area. I think that in this case particularly, it's a case of people seeing what they want to see, and we came up with nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was
nothing?
Nothing.
I hope that you would find at least something.
Sometimes we go into a location and we're just amazed by the amount of evidence. Other times we go in and there's just absolutely nothing. We definitely want to thank you again for having us here.
Yeah.
It's been terrific.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Shall we go?
To say the truth, I feel a little bit disappointed, of course. The good thing is, when the people come here from now on, I can tell them that there is nothing to be scared about because this place is definitely not haunted.
To me, the place was filled with some great stories, a lot of history, beautiful location, but no paranormal activity. Well, I think we should go back to the hotel, get packed up, and ask Brandy not to give us any cases with steep, rocky hills.
Yeah.